Hi, good morning. This is Weeda Brown. Are We Brown on Facebook for those who don't know me. First, I want to say, sorry I couldn't be there. I'm racing this morning. I want to say congratulations on 5 years for MRDS. Look forward to many, 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 many more years. You guys are doing great things in the running community as well as in the community as a whole. I'm going to be talking a little bit today about injury prevention. I want to give you a little bit of background. First, I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I treat plenty of patients who have various runners injuries. I also personally have had a plethora of injuries. I've been running since 2010. I run 9 marathons, 20, 21 half marathons, a plethora of 10Ks and 5Ks, and also done 2 Wagners. I've had myself a right meniscus tear. I've had plantar fasciitis for 2.5 years. I've had a stress fracture. I've had iliotibial friction syndrome. I've had glute strain, and also had this weird midfoot. The bottom of my foot used to hurt every time I striked when I was running. I also had a few ankle sprains. And just a shameless plug, I write about a lot of my injuries and how I came back to running, because I'm still running despite all my injuries. In my book, Running is Cheaper Than Therapy. So it gives detailed accounts of my running injuries. So, but to my topic for today, injury prevention. I'm just going to give you a few key points. I know we are in various stages of running, some beginners, some seasoned runners, some expert runners, and we have many coaches in the group. So, first, before I talk about anything, first I want to talk about proper shoes. Proper shoes are essential. My advice would be to go to a running store that has people who are trained in proper shoe fit. They need to measure your feet. You need to try several options. You know whether you need a stability shoe or a neutral shoe. And that depends on your foot. Does it pronate, which means turn in, or supinate, which means turn out? Because that will determine what type of shoe will fit you best. And it's also best to try the shoe on a treadmill and run a few miles. And also for a store that has a policy, because you may run 5-10 minutes in the store, but after you run a few miles, you may feel different. So if they have a policy where you return them and get another pair of shoes or get your money back, that would be beneficial, because running shoes are not inexpensive. So after you get the proper shoes, let's talk a little bit about training programs. There's several training programs online, or if you want to get a running coach that basically sets how many miles you run this week, how many miles you run next week, up into whatever race, if you're training for a 5K, 10K, half marathon, or marathon, in order to get your workouts. I've had several coaches, and I've done several programs. The key is to get the program that works for you. The program that works for your friend may not work for you. When I first started running, my first long race was a half marathon. So I got a program online. I used to run with a group called United Nations when I was living in Philadelphia. The half marathon was great. I used it to train for a 10-miler at first, and then I ran a half marathon. Following that, I used the same program for my marathon, but this program was not a very good program, because most programs progressively increase your mileage. Say this week I might run 8 miles, and next week I might drop down to 6 and then go up to 10. This program had me going from 8 to 10 to 15. I never dropped, and my friends were asking me, like, why is your mileage continue to progress up? So I started having injuries when I started running past 15 miles. Just minor aches and pains at the time. But then I ended up having iliotibial friction band syndrome, which caused me a significant amount of pain and discomfort, because at that time I was running 3 marathons in 3 months, which is another topic that I will talk about in a few minutes. So make sure your running program fits you. And there are several ways to know. Listen to your body. If you feel like you can never recover, if you feel like you're in pain, that's a sign the program may be too much for you. You also can talk to some of the coaches in MRDS and run it by them, your program, and see if it fits for you. Outside of running shoes, program coaches, I would recommend a coach if it's in your budget. Coach it, but you need to, again, find a coach that fits you. I've had about 4 running coaches, and the first one was very good because she made me realize that I was doing too much. I gave her all my races and all my training programs, and she was surprised. I had been running 3 years at that time that I had done so much, and she told me I was doing too much. And when I saw her, I was injured, and actually that's when I had my meniscus tear and wound up having to have surgery. But she basically fired me because I wanted to do more than what her program prescribed for me. And I had another coach, which was too much for me. His program was too intense, and I was injury prone, so I felt that I should be a little bit more conservative. Now I'm training for trials, and I have a tri coach, Maurice Wills, which also actually teaches chi running. And chi running basically teaches you about proper form, which is my next topic. When you run, you want to make sure that you have proper form. If you don't, you're more prone to injuries. You want to feel when you're running like you're falling forward. It should be not much effort. People think running is easy and you can just go out and run, but there's technique with it with any sport. So in order to be efficient as well as prevent injuries, you need to know the proper form. One thing I notice when I'm running on the lakefront is a lot of people, when they run, they twist their upper body and their arms cross. That's not very efficient. Your arms should be at your side and very relaxed. You should also strike at the ball of your foot versus your heel. So a lot of stress on your knees, especially if you're going downhill. So I would recommend a chi running class, or you can look online. I read the book and I took a couple classes from chi instructor. Again, Maurice Wills, who is actually on the Black Chicago Runners group, is an instructor and will be happy to provide you information on how you can sign up for his classes. Another key point in running injury prevention is not to sign up for every race. We all know we love races and we love bling, but if you race, say every week, or if you race and don't train, which a lot of people do, I've been guilty myself, racing, you're basically giving your full effort. So if you race all the time with 100% effort, you're more prone to injury. Because most runners have overuse injuries, which is due to overtraining, not proper recovery, and some of the other points, again, the form and improper shoes. So you may limit your races. You may, again, talk over with one, if you have a coach or with one of the coaches in the group, to see if you're racing too much. Another key point is recovery. And I was so bad at recovery when I initially started running. I signed up for races. I never rest. I was on 10, literally, all year long. I never had an off season. After I ran a marathon, I'll take a few days off. But then I was running like 2 or 3 miles, and then I was starting a program for the next race. I never, ever rested or recovered. And I used to run 3 to 4 days a week, and I ran with intense people who had been running for years. So I was trying to keep up with them and their schedules, and I wasn't at that level yet. So that was part of my multiple injuries. So recovery. One, you need recovery after your run. You should get a snack or some food that is rich in protein and carbohydrates between 45 minutes to an hour after you run. Make sure you stretch after you run. Foam roll. Following running is also good in order to help you recover. After long runs, I use an ice bath. And the theory behind the ice bath is it cools your body, increases your blood flow. It helps to promote removal of the lactic acid that you build up after runs. It does help with recovery. You can do ice bath at home, which is what I do. I go bath 3 bags of ice and put in cold water in my tub. But there are also different facilities, such as the recovery room or Edge Fitness, that have ice baths, and they also have some compression sleeves. They also do help too, and the theory behind them is the same: increased blood flow, and it helps to your body to recover from the decrease in lactic acid. Also, key component in recovery is to have proper networks, as far as if you have an injury or if you're running and you're sore for a couple days after, and it doesn't, that's normal. But if it doesn't go away and you hurt every run, or you hurt during the run, you hurt after the run, and you can't perform, your speed is decreasing, you feel like you can't in proper form, you need to see someone. Either you be your primary care physician or orthopedic surgeon. You're free to ask me about any advice. Several different running stores and running groups have Athletico or different companies come in and they'll do injury screens. The recovery room, also you can drop in and make an appointment to get an evaluation, or even I've had physical therapy for several of my injuries, and Liz Yardley, which owns the recovery room and is also physical therapy, I can just stop in for a tune-up and she can assess me and see what route I should take to prevent a full-blown injury or to treat whatever small injury that I may have. So these are different options out there for you if you feel like you may have an injury. Also, if you are injured, don't be discouraged. Listen to your physician. Your physician says to shut down or slow down. Listen. If they tell you to stop running, I say seek another opinion. I never tell my patients who are runners to stop running. They need to cut down. They may need to cross-train. They may need to not run an ultra marathon, but stick to half. But don't, if a physician or your primary care physician tells you to stop running, I say seek another opinion. So, and also another key point, which I didn't mention as far as recovery. Recovery doesn't mean just doing nothing. There are different ways. There's active recovery, such as cross-training. Yoga is good because all runners need a strong core, need good balance, and they need strength. Strengthening key. Your glute muscles are key. Because if you have a weak core, you have weak glute muscles, you put extra stress on different structures such as your IT band, which is why a lot of runners have iliotibial band friction syndrome. And also plantar fasciitis can be caused or attributed to the fact that you don't have strength in these areas and you put extra stress on your fascia or the connective tissue on the bottom of your foot. Also, it's key to strengthen the foot muscles because they take a lot of weight. And if you have weak foot muscles, it also puts extra stress on your plantar fascia. So, yoga is good. Cross-training is good. Again, to concentrate on those key points, your glutes, your core, foot intrinsic, and also stretching. And as I mentioned, foam rollers are great. They may not feel good, but they're great, particularly after a run. And you should incorporate them in your cross-training and throughout the week. So this is my advice as far as injury prevention. If you have any questions, feel free to inbox me, send me a Facebook message, or also you can get my information from anyone. And I'm free to give you my professional advice, encouragement, because I've been there. I'm actually somewhat have a small injury now from my last marathon. My ankles have been bothering me. I actually had a tune-up last week with Liz Yardley. I've been running, but I've decreased my distance and been concentrating on cross training, a lot of swimming, biking, and strength exercises. But I'm still running. I'm doing a 10K today because I have a race in a month. But if I am injured, I would not run. Don't be upset if you have to miss a race, because the key is to keep yourself healthy and injury free so you can run a race another day. Don't let a race take you out, which happened to me when I did 3 marathons in 3 months. I had to have surgery. I was out for 9 months and I couldn't run a marathon for 2 years. So take my advice, and I hope we all have a injury-free year. Again, congratulations to MRDS for 5 years, and I know it'll be many, many, many more. Thanks, and have a wonderful day.